welcome to this T20 special. Royal Stag, perfect strokes. The T20 World Cup is in India for the first time, and we have the unique privilege of being joined by three individuals who are winners of the first inaugural T20 World Cup when India surprised the world by winning the cup. Please give a big hand, ladies and gentlemen, to my three very special guests today. I'm joined by Virender Sehwag, arguably the most destructive batsman that India has ever produced. Gautam Gambhir, who was man of the match in that famous final many years ago in South Africa. And Robin Uthappa, who was a member of that winning team in 2007. We're now in 2016, and almost a decade later, India is hoping to win the T20 World Cup once again, this time on home soil. So my obvious question, and I hope the answers won't be diplomatic, Virender Sehwag, is India good enough to win this World Cup? Is this team of 2016 actually better than the team that you played in 2007, which won the World Cup?
I think this team is more balanced than the 2007 World Cup, I can say that, because that time we all were youngsters. I think most of the players were youngsters. Now they are matured, and because the World Cup is happening in India, and they are more experienced players because they played a lot of cricket in India, and they know the condition better than anybody else. So I think, in my opinion, that we have a 99% chance to win the World Cup.
You have a 99% chance to win the World Cup. But that means you're saying there's a 1% chance that we won't win the World Cup.
Yeah, because of rain.
Okay. Okay. Gautam Gambhir, are you as confident about this? You know, if I were to compare, both of you have had the unique distinction of actually winning both the 50-over World Cup and the 20-over World Cup, 2007 and 2011. Is this team, in a sense, as good as those two teams?
I think 2011 was a completely different team to 2007, and I thought that 2011 team was one of the best team India could have had in the limited over format. We had the experience, we had the youth as well, and you can't compare the 2011 to 2016 T20 because 2011 was a 50-over format. So format changes, a lot of other things changes with the format as well. But I think that it's very difficult to tag any one team as favorite, especially in a T20 format, because the format is such that any one individual can also take the game away from you. So I feel that it's very difficult for me to mention one team who could end up winning the World Cup.
Virender Sehwag is playing like Virender Sehwag batted, where he decides that 99% India is winning. Gautam Gambhir is playing like a more defensive batsman.
Not at all. It's not about being defensive. It's about being practical as well, because T20 is a format where you can't predict anything. I think no one ever predicted Bangladesh would beat Pakistan or Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup. Did anyone? I don't think so. I didn't predict that could happen, but it did happen just because of the format.
Isn't that what it is about? The format of T20 World Cup means that, as Gautam says, on a day, anyone plays a blazing innings, and you can take a Chris Gayle and AB de Villiers. Do you believe that therefore T20 is a bit of a lottery? Or is there also a method to the madness that Mahendra Singh Dhoni in particular knows what a T20 World Cup involves?
Simply because I believe it doesn't just take a blazing innings. You can have two guys really do well on the day, and the last over, someone out of nowhere comes and changes the game on its head. The last 5 or 6 balls of a game. So you know, I'm with Gauti on the T20 format that you never really can predict who's going to win. Well, yeah, you can say that, you know, there are some strong sides playing, there's some strong players playing, but to pick just one side and say, okay, this team can win. You can say can win, but for sure, I'm not really certain.
Okay, so we're going to say India are the favorites, but anyone could win on their day,
Absolutely.
Which is perhaps the best way to look at T20. But I'm going to take you back to 2007. Now, one of the defining images of the World Cup was when Yuvraj hit 6 sixes. Tell me, what was that like? For a batsman to hit 6 sixes against a decent bowler in Stuart Broad. What does it take? What is it special about Yuvraj, who even now is in the team, to hit 6 sixes in an over?
I think the day has to belongs to you. Then only you can hit 6 sixes in over, because it's difficult to hit 6 sixes. Because even you play club cricket or local cricket or whatever cricket you play, it's difficult to hit.
Have you ever hit 6 sixes?
No, I tried. I hit only 5 against Murli Karthik.
You hit 5 against Murli Karthik?
I missed the 6th one, but that was the practice game. But it's difficult to say that, yes, when Yuvraj hit it, we were watching that and we were praying for Yuvraj that he can hit 6-1. and he did it, and we all were very happy, and we congratulate him. And that first guy from India who hit 6 sixes in any international game, so we were proud of that.
No, I'm just wondering whether that was a moment which changed the way we looked at the game. Because Gautam Gambhir, you will remember going into that World Cup, Tendulkar not playing, Dravid not playing, Ganguly, because they were not interested, it appeared, in T20 cricket. Was that the moment that changed, or was it winning that final that suddenly convinced us that T20 is also cricket? Otherwise, people thought T20 is just masala.
Well, I think winning the final for sure. I think if you ask me one moment, what was that one moment throughout the tournament? Obviously winning the final. Because whichever World Cup you play, irrespective of whatever format it is, when you're representing your country in a World Cup game or in a World Cup tournament, it's about winning the World Cup. And when we ended up winning the World Cup, that's when we realized that it was, before that, I don't think so, all of us realized big, but only after winning the World Cup we realized that it had become really, really big. The kind of celebrations and the kind of impact it had after winning the World Cup, especially back home, was unbelievable.
Virender Sehwag, you were one of the only senior cricketers who agreed to play that World Cup. Tendulkar, Ganguly, Dravid didn't play it. Is it because of the kind of cricketer you are that you thought that T20 is made for Virender Sehwag?
No, I think I was not the part of the team which went to England, and so I was at home, and suddenly I got news that, and I got picked for T20 World Cup. So I thought, wow, there is another opportunity for me to play for India again, and if I perform well, so maybe and get back to the one day and test team also. So it was a good opportunity for me to play in T20, because I played in county when I played for Leicestershire in 2003, and we reached the semi-finals, and that time we didn't realize that T20 became such a big hit in India and everywhere. So it was just another opportunity for me to play in that World Cup, and if I can perform and get back into the one day and test side.
Robin Uthappa, let's turn to that final. Pakistan, and you actually got a very important run out of Imran Nazir when he was batting very well. It was not just winning a World Cup. You beat Pakistan twice while winning that World Cup. Once in what is called a bowl out, and once was the final where you got the run out. Did that make it extra special in some way? Beating Pakistan twice in a World Cup.
Well, I think winning the first one obviously created a lot of momentum for us in the tournament, which I think is extremely critical in the T20 tournament. To be successful in a tournament, I think momentum is a big factor at the start of a tournament, and we happen to have that after the bowl out against Pakistan in the first game.
Anybody saw that match where 5 people had to hit the stumps? Had any of you ever seen a bowl out in your life before that?
No, I think we practiced before that.
So we practiced a bowl out?
Yeah, we got the news that if match got tied, so we have to practice. We have to do the bowl out.
Okay, so you were the first in that bowl out, and you knew how to hit a stump with the ball.
Yeah, I did that in practice.
I didn't practice because I couldn't hit the stumps.
You couldn't hit
people were the 2 people.
But Robin, you also hit the stumps. Had you practiced for a bowl out?
Well, yes. In fact, Venkatesh Prasad, who was a bowling coach at that point in time, made us play this game as a part of the warm-up at the end of the practice, at the beginning of each practice session. After we finished our warm-ups, we played this as a game. So it was good fun, and I think most, as in Viruba and I and a couple of other batsmen were hitting the stumps more often than the bowlers. So when it came up, we said, "Give us the ball, we'll hit the stumps."
The fact is, Pakistan cannot defeat India in a World Cup. That's established. I think that World Cup only confirmed that even in a bowl out they can't beat us. But in that final, Gautam, you got the start, you got a 50, and I think it was a critical element of that World Cup final, the kind of start that you gave us. Is there something about playing Pakistan that in a World Cup match, whether it's T20 or 50 overs, that makes you perform better? Were you also trying to prove yourself in that first World Cup?
Not at all. I think as a sportsman, if you ask me, I've never considered Pakistan as any other opponent, as a different opponent to any other opponent, because sometimes when you start taking Pakistan differently, obviously then your emotion starts taking over your thoughts as well, and that's going to be very, very dangerous for any sportsman. Once your emotion starts taking over, your clear thinking. So I've always prepared myself against Pakistan or against any other side the same way. So beating Pakistan or beating any other side would have been equally special. It was not only about Pakistan. We keep talking about India, Pakistan. It's only because of a media hype as well. But I personally feel as a sportsman, you don't prepare differently. You prepare the same way whether you play Pakistan, Australia or any other country.
I know you say that, but then in that last over of that World Cup final, the ball is given to someone called Joginder Sharma, who whatever happens, even 20 years from now will say, मैंने वो एक over तो डाला life में, जिसने पाकिस्तान को हराया. I mean, of all players, was that Mahendra Singh Dhoni who decided Joginder Sharma should bowl?
MS didn't had an option. I think the only option that was left to him was Joginder Sharma, and that exactly was the reason why he bowled Joginder. Otherwise, all the rest of the 4 bowlers had already bowled their full quota of overs, so he was left with not many options. So it is always better to give a pure bowler a go rather than giving a part-timer a go in the last over. So I thought that that was the only option he had.
What was that the secret also of that World Cup? That many of the players played without fear. Either they had a point to prove, or they were so young that they didn't. You know, you were playing your first big tournament in a sense that all of you were without fear. And how important is that in T20? You cannot have fear. जो डर गया वो मर गया. In T20, डर के आगे जीत है.
In that tournament, we went in there and we went in there as novices really, and we hadn't really played too much of T20 cricket. So we went in there, hoping to, and we were going to put our best foot forward, but at the same time we were looking to enjoy ourselves, and we knew that we were new to this format, so we were looking to learn. And I think the one thing we discussed before the tournament when we sat together was that we'll back each other, we'll give our best, and we'll take one game at a time. And I think that's what we did. And when I look back, I think that there were different points in each game that momentum was created, and we held strong to that momentum. We made sure that every game there was something special that happened. And if you look back, in every game that we played, there was something special that happened with our side. And that really carried us forward and held us together very well as a side.
Because there were lots of new young players who emerged. Srishant, I remember Srishant taking on the Australians in the semi-final. There was the 6 sixes of Yuvraj. There was the performance of Rohit Sharma against South Africa. The two of you had a 100-run partnership against England. So it appeared that in every match there was someone who was performing. Was it that because you all were all so young? Like 2011 World Cup, there was pressure on you. We wanted you to win, we expected you to win. 2007, no expectations.
Look, I think because it was happening for the first time, and T20 World Cup was organized for the first time, so maybe people didn't expect too much out of us as well, and no one was taking this T20 format that seriously as well. And the reason was obviously this format itself demands being fearless, and obviously with a young team, first time it's happening, you could just go out there and enjoy yourself and express yourself, and this format does demand that. If you start fearing, if you start holding yourself back, especially in a T20 format, you will never be successful. And that is one thing, that's why India has always done well in a T20 format, because it's not only about skill, it's about just going out there and being absolutely flamboyant. And that is why India, if you see, has done pretty well in a T20 format.
How important is Mahendra Singh Dhoni to that? Is he the ideal made for T20 captain?
Generally, I think MS Dhoni was doing first-time captaincy in there, so he was asking everybody what to do, how we can go about this matches, T20 matches. So nobody knows, what to do in T20. So the only advice I gave him that, if you win the toss, we have to bat first. Why? Because the game starts at 8 o'clock, and 8 to 11, the ball swings a lot. So if we are chasing only 130, and it's difficult for any team to chase under lights at Durban or any other ground in South Africa. So that the only advice I gave him. And then after that, just go out there, give your best, enjoy yourselves. And if everybody enjoys and give their best, I think then we have a chance to win the game. So
I have to ask you one question, Gautam, on Yuvraj's 6 sixes. I was hearing you on one of the channels saying that you believed that if any cricketer would hit 6 sixes in a World Cup, in an over, it would be Yuvraj. That Yuvraj is the most destructive one-day batsman that you have seen. What does it take? Is there something? Is it the kind of person Yuvraj is?
Look, I think I never said that he's going to be the only one who could hit 6 sixes.
You said something like that.
I said that obviously he is one of the most destructive ODI batsmen, only for a reason, because he bats at number 6 or 7. Because there are people, there's someone like a Sehwag who opened the batting, but someone like and Yuvraj, he's finished a lot of games for us as well. And especially that the kind of order, the number which he bats at, makes him a very destructive batsman as well. See, most of the people who've got big runs for India in a one-day format has been people who batted in top 3, whether it's Saurav, Sachin. So I think Yuvraj is different from them, because the thing is he's won a lot of games, especially batting at that number. That's what makes him very destructive and one of the best one-day batsmen India has ever had.
Okay, I'm going to come to the present World Cup in a moment, but one last image of that World Cup was the kind of reception you got when you came back. There was a bus BST bus. It was raining in Mumbai. Thousands of people had lined the road. Did you ever imagine, Robin Uthappa, that so many people would have lined up in Mumbai on a rainy day to greet you for a World Cup victory of a T20 tournament?
We were completely surprised, and we didn't expect it whatsoever. When we got there, we heard a little bit of a noise outside the airport, and we thought it'll probably finish there at the airport. But once we got onto the bus and we got out, as we left the airport, it started raining, and 5 hours later, by the time we reached the stadium, we were drenched, and then by halfway through, the sun came out, and by the time we reached Wankhede, we were dried up. And it was a phenomenal journey. That 5 hours itself is a story in itself, and you probably can write a book.
What gave you bigger satisfaction, 2007 or 2011?
I think both, because nobody was expecting in 2007 we can win the World Cup, and we won it. And the kind of team we has, all the young lad were part of that team. But in 2011, yes, everybody was expecting and hoping that this is the last World Cup of Tendulkar and we should win it for Tendulkar. So I think everybody was up for this 2011 World Cup, and we were telling our friends that this is the World Cup where we can win, and you make sure that you can book your tickets and you can come and reach to the semi-final and finals.
Let me then come to the 2016 World Cup. You won the 2011 World Cup in a sense for Tendulkar. The young people will say they need to win the 2016 World Cup for Dhoni. This could be Dhoni's last big World Cup. Do you believe, Gautam, that in this team, you again have a lot of new young players coming? Suddenly you have talents like Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya, people who haven't been tested for a very long time. Is that an advantage? People coming into this team who are raw, young, fresh, hungry for success?
Look, I think when you're playing for your country, everyone is hungry, whether you're young or whether you're old. Otherwise, you don't deserve to be playing for the country. But obviously, when someone like a Bumrah or a young guy comes into it, obviously it can be a blessing in disguise as well, because they've not been tested that much, and they can come in with a lot of, lot of flair. Not too much of expectation and not too much of pressure as well, so they could actually contribute a lot in a big way, especially in the T20 format, because the thing is they don't carry any burden of the past. So they come in not thinking too much about the past, and they are actually, in this format, it can play a massive role, especially with people like Bumrah and Pandya.
But you've also got two players who, Robin, many will say are possibly the finest players of this format today, or three really. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and Suresh Raina. Do you believe any team in the world has a trio quite like this? And is Virat Kohli the kind of player who can win you a World Cup in T20 virtually on his own bat?
Well, that would be unfair to start off, but I'm not sure about having three players in a side that can bat as well as these three do, but I definitely believe that Rohit and Virat are batting extremely well today. And especially Rohit's hitting the ball very, very sweetly, and I think it's one of the best phases of his life. And I certainly believe that with these guys being in the kind of form that they're in, gives us a stronger chance to win the World Cup. But like I said, I again stand by what I said earlier, that in T20 cricket there are no real favourites. You can say that a team has a better chance on a day, but it really goes down to the wire and saying and on who performs in that.
But I still want you to assess these three cricketers for me: Raina, Rohit, Virat. What is it that they have, you think? Rohit Sharma, for example, seems to be hitting the ball better than anyone has in a very long time.
I think in T20, what T20 gives to the player, the fearless approach, because they know that they have to play only 120 balls. So if they'll face 10 balls or 20 balls, they have to score 30, 40 runs. And then if they can do that, they can keep continuing. And if somebody is facing 40 balls, they have to score 80 or 90 runs in those 40 balls. So that fearness comes because of the T20 game, because of this format. And if any batsman is fearless, then he has a more chance to perform better.
But is Virat batting, particularly Rohit and Virat, are they batting better than you've ever seen them?
I think they did well in one-day cricket as well. So, but the T20 comes in, so they know that if they play 10 balls and get out, so they're putting more pressure on the others. So that's why the Rohit and Shikhar and Virat, these top three, they have to give a good start and they have to play more balls than anybody else. So look at that Australian series when we were in Australia. So Virat, Rohit, Shikhar, and Raina, the four players batted 20 overs and we won all three matches. So if they bat like that, the way batted in Australia or against Sri Lanka or in that Asia Cup, I think then we have a very good chance. That 99% what I said.
I'm questioning the god of Indian cricket, but Virat Kohli is batting possibly better than Sachin Tendulkar has, certainly in the T20 format. I mean, T20 was not Tendulkar's game. He came into it late. But is Virat Kohli today in this format, along with maybe an AB de Villiers, possibly the best two players in a T20 format today? The kind who can win you a T20 on their own bat, or you believe T20 cannot be won by one batsman?
No, T20 cannot be won by one batsman, especially the World Cup. I think you can win one game, but if you're talking about winning the entire tournament, it's very difficult that one individual can do it. If that would have been the case, maybe a lot of other teams would have won many more times. Like a West Indies would have won many more World Cups. With someone like a Chris Gayle in their lineup, they could have won many more World Cups. But then one person cannot win you the World Cup. They can end up winning you one game on that given day, but not the entire tournament.
So what will it take, you believe, for India to win this World Cup? Or for what is that one thing that you believe will separate the winners from the other teams? What is it about the T20 format? Is it improvisation? Is it fearlessness? What is the one quality that you need to win the T20 World Cup, Robin?
To me, I think it's team effort and momentum. Genuinely believe that if the team can work together in a fluidic manner and create momentum and sustain that momentum through the course of the tournament, I definitely believe that team will win.
Okay, I'm going to ask you then, all of you at the very end, what is your favorite T20 World Cup moment so far? You played the 2007 World Cup. What is your favorite moment, any moment that you recall? Remember, no team has repeated their success in a World Cup. Every time you've had a new winner. But your favorite, any moment that for you is your favorite T20 moment?
I think that final, I was not playing, but still, I was feeling like I was playing for my country, and I was cheering for my players who was playing, and that moment, I think I never forget in my life.
How did you celebrate after that final, Gautam Gambhir? Do you remember how you celebrated? Did you all celebrate through the night? You were a young man then.
Look, I think I'm never being a big believer in celebrating stuff. I think we are there to do a job, and obviously it was more of a satisfaction as well winning the World Cup, because that is what we've been picked for, and obviously a lot of people didn't expect us to win, but still winning the World Cup was the best moment. Obviously I don't believe in celebrating too much. Obviously try and keep myself emotions to myself, but obviously that was the best moment.
So you left the celebrations to the Yuvraj Singhs and the Robin Uthappas.
Absolutely, the celebrations are made for them.
Right. Robin, do you believe later India now understands T20 cricket much better than in 2007? That's the big advantage we have. Because of IPL, we now know how to play T20 cricket.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I do believe that we started off as novices in the first World Cup, and I think we've really grown. We've graduated a lot, and we've come forward, and we're probably true professionals and top class professionals as far as T20 is concerned.
Who's the best T20 World Cup batsman? Is there one player from the other teams outside India who India should fear, Viru?
Yeah, there are a lot. There's Warner, there's AB de Villiers, there's Chris Gayle, there's Andre Russell, so Shane Watson. So there are a lot, Finch, in other teams as well. So there are a lot of players who can win a game from their batting. So even there are a lot of bowler also.
And you don't want to come out of retirement to play a T20 World Cup, right?
No, I'm happy. I'm very happy with my career.
You're very happy with your career. Ladies and gentlemen, all these three individuals have done India very proud. They won the first World Cup for India in 2007. Please give them a very big hand. Thank you very much.
4 terrorists struck at the Indian consulate in Jalalabad. We are getting you the first images of that horrific terror strike that were caught on camera. A CCTV camera outside the